This week on Dumb Pitches, my guest is Shain Brenden, and we dive into Molly. Would you go to a show where the comedians were on Molly instead of weed? That's pretty good. And then what I think could be a very successful idea where you rent someone's Instagram algorithm as to not screw up your own while looking at creepy stuff. I don't know. It gets pretty in-depth. You're going to want to listen. Here we go. Dumb Pitches.
What a bunch of dumb pitches. Oh my goodness.
Welcome to another episode of Dumb Pitches with Monica Nevi. I'm Monica Nevi, your host. This is the show where we talk to successful people about their worst ideas. So happy to have our guest this week, a hilarious comedian and a great friend, Shain Brenden.
Yeah. Hey, all right.
Yeah, hi. We clap around
Finally.
Here. I know.
Finally.
We have to give you some props because, first of all, this is how I prove that we are actually friends, is because the first few times I asked you to do this, it was like the day of. You only do that to people you're friends with.
You actually know and consider a friend. Yeah.
But during that time, which you were like on board, I think 3 times you said yes.
Yeah.
And either something happened and then I got COVID. When we tried I was hoping it wasn't COVID. So we tried the next week, but then it was COVID. So,
right. I think even one of the times you asked me to do it, I might have gotten COVID.
Really?
I think
maybe.
I just probably said it to make you feel better, but I also had COVID, so I don't know. Maybe.
That's why you're a good friend. So we're finally doing it, so don't fuck it up. Just kidding. No.
All right.
Excited to have you. Thanks for making it work. We like to start by giving everyone your good ideas so that they know you have not only had shitty ideas. Okay?
I mean, that's hard. You told me to have some dumb ones, and that was pretty easy. Good ideas? I mean, I don't know, man.
Well, this is what I'm going to tell them, the good ideas that you have had. So I'm going to stand up for you, so you don't need to even brag.
Thank you.
I got you. So Shain Brenden, hilarious, award-winning stand-up comedian. We've actually done a ton of festivals together. You have done a lot of festivals, which is impressive. But you were a writer and producer for NBC Sports Northwest, which I was always very impressed by. You were in a short film called Dinner. That's cool. And another film called Queen Triggerfish. Cool. What? These are awesome names.
Yeah.
You did the CBS Diversity Sketch Comedy Program. And you've been in you've done commercials, lots of stuff, a lot of writing stuff.
Yeah.
And currently you have a podcast called Assville.
That's right.
That is
right. That's my proudest accomplishment out of all that shit you just said.
Just naming that podcast. We met in San Diego. It's probably like
25 years ago, I think. Something like that.
Back in the war. And no, I think you were writing for somebody at the time, or you were, and you hadn't moved, obviously you hadn't moved hadn't moved to Portland.
Right, right.
And I will never forget it because you were sitting you just looked very sad.
What?
Sitting at the bar by yourself at the Madhouse, right? So the back, you're sitting there, and I think you were hosting, and I was on the show, and we just kind of started. You were pretty stressed out. I can't remember why, but just kind of started talking. And I think it was one of those nights, when you get drunk enough where you're like, thanks, man. I really needed this talk,
Yeah.
That's and that was our first interaction.
And that's when you're like, you know what? Me and this guy, thick as thieves.
Yeah.
He gets me.
We got it.
Yeah, dude. I mean, if it was around that time, because Madhouse back in San Diego, because I started back in San Diego. I mean, that was like my home club. They passed me. So if I was sitting at the bar stressed out, that was probably just an average night for me.
This is a normal.
It's just a normal, hey, I'm the host. I'm not that good at comedy yet. Let me just do what I can do.
I think you did have some
stinkers.
No. I remember the set being good. Well, I will say you're pretty harsh on yourself, even for comedian standards, as far as your sets go. I remember the set was great, but you did when we were talking, you were just kind of pretty. I don't know if you didn't think you had a good set or you were just like. It was a lot of like, yeah, I haven't been doing it for very long, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I remember being impressed or confused at least that you were already writing for like some TV show, but you weren't very confident at least in your stand-up. Those things didn't really go together in my head.
Yeah, it didn't make sense for me either. But here we are now. And even still, anytime we cross paths and we do shows together after all these years, I'm pretty much still the same way where you'll be like, good set, man. I'm like, fuck you.
Right. You're like, what were you watching? I was like, you did great. The room is full, Shane. Come on.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
One day I'll learn to love myself and appreciate my material, but that ain't today. So that's what drives me.
Good. Maybe we should worry for that day. What happens when do you quit if you're like, that was good? That's the only reason I've been doing stand-up this whole time is to have one good set. And I finally did
when
it.
When it happens, dude, I'm hanging all this shit up, man. Hanging all of it up. I'm going to go get a job as an HR manager at Nike or something like that. Just be a regular dude.
But if all those things didn't happen, it would never lead you to Assville, So
that's true. All roads lead to Assville. Yes, me.
To Assville. Exactly.
Yeah.
So, when this podcast is over, when people are done listening to it, then you go check out Assville so you can see what all the hype is about.
If you love dumb pitches, you'll love Assville.
That is. I've thought about us doing like little commercials at the end or something.
Yeah, well, we're Helium Podcast Network.
We should all do it. In fact,
family.
I did tell one of the people who kind of runs the network. I was like, well, maybe other people would, and she just didn't respond to me. So maybe it's not a good idea.
Sounds about right.
But, I listen to other podcasts and they're like, if you like this podcast, you'll probably like this one, and do a little 15 seconds. I'm like, I could send that to you guys and then you could put it on there if you wanted to. And I would gladly put it on yours, and nobody responded to me.
Do it. I'll do it. We're recording. It's a podcast I do with a buddy of mine, another comic named Seth Allen. And we're going to record ours after this one. So boom, you got yourself a promo, dude. It's coming.
Okay. Yeah. We'll send you. Okay. Perfect.
There it is.
We'll do it on our own.
We'll do it.
All right. So obviously full of good ideas. You've had plenty of successful stand-up sets, whether you think so or not.
Thank you so much.
And okay, so when I say the criteria, kind of what bad ideas you could have, what did you think of?
My first one I was thinking about I did one of those weed shows recently.
Oh God.
Yeah, and I don't do well on those because I'm not really good with the weed.
Well, apparently you don't do well on any show, according to you. So I don't know if we.
But I especially don't do good on the shows.
Okay.
The one you do. I think we might have done one together too. In Portland once or twice. You do a set not on weed, and then there's an intermission, and then everybody smokes the weed, and then they come back in, and then you're supposed to do comedy, and I always just come undone and unravel myself. And I thought after doing one of those, I was like, this bums me out, and this kind of gives me anxiety. What if there was a show where the drug makes everybody inherently just happy, and like there's no way no one can feel bad? So it'd be like a Molly show. Right? No one can be bummed out on Molly. I mean,
I don't think from a chemical perspective you can be.
No.
That's the point,
and look,
right?
Professionally speaking, I've done several sets rolling.
Really?
Hard. Yeah, it's like it was my favorite. I think I'm past all that, but like it's pretty fucking tight. I mean, Molly by itself is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And you feel good things.
Mm-hmm.
And you want to just open up to people and tell them how beautiful they are and how much you appreciate them. So why not incorporate that in something that's inherently sad, sometimes like stand-up comedy?
That is,
right?
Feels what's needed. Sometimes audiences are like, oh my God, they're so sad. But that wouldn't be. Or that first set, maybe they do think about. So do you do a set sober before?
I think.
Or everybody just on Molly the whole time?
Well, okay. So you know how there's an intermission with the weed shows?
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, we pop the Molly and then do our first set because it's going to take a while to kick
it's going to take a second. Yeah, that makes sense.
Also, I don't know if I made it clear, but the crowd is also on Molly.
I wish all of my crowds were on Molly.
Yes.
That would be great.
Yeah. Now that I've said that, I don't even think this is a dumb idea. I think this is a really good idea.
I know. I think the legality of it is where we would run into issues, but otherwise,
I didn't think of like the law.
You know what? We don't tell anybody until they get there. That'd be fine. I mean, I've had people on Molly in the audience, and that's because they told me afterwards. That is, you can't not tell people if you're having such a great time.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever done Molly and been and not told anyone. I think that's a part of the drug, is like you want to share.
Yeah.
You want to open up.
You want to share everything when you're on Molly. If you haven't, Molly Ecstasy, was the same.
For the nerds, for you nerds out there.
Old kids. It just makes you feel, I mean, that's what it makes you feel, ecstasy. I just remember the last time I did it, because it's been, I mean, maybe I'm getting past the drug point in my life, besides anything that makes my joints feel better. I'll do those drugs. So it's been a little while since I've done Molly, but I remember, because I love sneakers. I like wearing heels, which is always, people are surprised by that. I get a feeling from shoes, like sneakers that I like make me feel a certain way. Timberlands, like boots that I like, make me feel a certain way, and heels make me feel a certain way. They're all different ways, but like it's just like from the feet up, I feel like I have a barrier of something in between me and the rest of the world.
Oh yeah, I know. You're preaching to the choir. You know, me and you, we're both sneakerheads.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
I get that.
I still have it for heels a bit, and I was New Year's Eve years ago, and we did Molly after I actually had a show, but with some friends in this hotel room, and she had just gotten these heels that were like kind of boots, but it had like a pretty, like stiletto heel, and I'm not a huge fan of that, especially for a long time. And I put them on, and I don't know what it was. It felt like just heaven on my feet. And so for no fucking reason, I'm in like, pajama pants or whatever, but walking around in these heels like everywhere, because they just felt, and that you're high, so you're sitting there and you're like, these feel, and I kept telling her, I was like, these shoes, they're amazing. They weren't even mine. Just like, oh, these are so great, and in my head I kept being like, all right, you got to take them off, like this, you're doing too much, but I just couldn't. I would like put them back on later, like just there's nothing, even the things you maybe don't like or would be, I remember having them on for so long that I was like, I know my feet are probably going to hurt tomorrow. Yeah. And if I was doing this sober, these would be bothering me, but they're not. So even like bad things.
Yeah, exactly.
Feel good.
Enjoy it. Yeah. Enjoy it. And deal with the consequences later. Just like, because that Molly come down, that hangover is a son of a bitch.
It's different. It's not as painful as like
booze, no.
Booze, but I feel mushy. I don't know how else to explain it. My brain feels kind of mushy. It's
mushy
weird.
And sad.
Yeah, because you don't feel high anymore. Yeah. So if everyone was on, it would be such an experience. You would bond so much with the audience.
Yeah.
If that was the situation, you'd probably say some crazy shit too.
Yeah, I've been known to say some. Not wild, inappropriate, but like I've weirded out a crowd with too much feeling once or twice.
I'm impressed that you had actually done a set on Molly, or done some sets on Molly. I have only done them on weed or booze.
Yeah.
And feel weird enough doing that.
Yeah. I don't know, man. It's like I always envied the comics that could be just stoned all the time. I mean, if you smoke, you smoke. So like you're operating at a different level all the time. But when you're going up and doing longer sets, I'm like, I just saw that dude rip a whole joint in the parking lot, and there's just crushing. So
I've seen people do it on mushrooms, and I'm like, I love a good mushroom trip, but I couldn't be on stage. I'd just be like staring at the walls.
I'm game for that. I'd take that challenge. I like a good shroom. I've never really done stand-up on shrooms, but I have stared at a picture of a horse for 4 hours.
Yeah.
In my in-laws' cabin.
Oh man, I got stuck in a mirror once. It wasn't bad. I think everybody who's done mushrooms knows what that's like. But I remember I was staring at the mirror, and my face was changing, and what it was doing was it would change, and I was like, it just doesn't look like me. Like every time it would change, I kept waiting for it to get back to my face, and it just wasn't doing that. But a lot of people see scary stuff, or they see their face decay, and that didn't happen. But I went
that's wild.
Back to the bathroom, and I know I was because I had been in there for a long time. Everybody's like, what the hell happened? I was like, I got stuck in the mirror. And then I went back to the bathroom knowing that could happen. So what I did while I was peeing is I stared straight down to the carpet. But then I got stuck in the carpet because that is like a shag carpet, and it looked like it was like a garden that was like growing all over itself. And so I'm just like staring at the carpet for 20 minutes. I couldn't be on stage. I'd just be like looking at the carpet.
That's it. I've never tripped like that. That sounds terrifying. So I could see you being reluctant. But I think it would make for a good. I think people would enjoy watching you getting stuck.
Oh yeah. That's true. You know? I mean, I guess, well, I've never been around people on mushrooms when I'm not on mushrooms.
What? What'd you just say?
You've never been around people on mushrooms like they're on mushrooms when I'm not on mushrooms. Sorry. Was that a weird way to say it? I've only ever seen another person on mushrooms when I too am on mushrooms. So.
That's interesting. I'm the same way. So.
I don't know what it looks like when someone else is doing a lot of drugs.
Cool as fuck.
When I'm sober. I said this on another podcast recently, on another episode recently, but we did mushrooms once and we were down at this river and there was like 5 of us, and then this family came down and they left in like 20 seconds. I don't know what we looked like, but it was definitely not where they were like, yeah, let's play down here.
You guys looked probably mushy. I don't know. That's probably the best.
We looked mushy.
Just vacant-eyed. Bunch of kids hanging out. Yeah, I get away from that too.
Yeah. Okay. So on this show,
I guess the one downside is like people will get horned up.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
And maybe there'll start being some extracurricular activities going on in the crowd. You don't want to get heckled by someone coming.
That's true.
Or do you?
It depends on if it's at the right time. I don't know. I mean, that would be the best crowd work of all time.
Right?
If you just shit all over somebody's face while you were on stage. Did you just jizz while I was? I've had people have their phones go off, but that seems worse.
Yeah, all of a sudden you hear everyone's phones vibrating for some reason. Yeah, I wouldn't want somebody to step on my punchline by fucking blowing the load.
I don't think I'd do any material though if I was on Molly.
Oh, and I haven't. Anytime I went on stage and I was rolling, it was just like, we're going to share now. We're here to share. And I always, something happened. That's why I stopped. Last time I did Molly was like years ago, but I remember I was at a show and somebody came up to me. It was a couple. And the one lady was just like, "You're that Molly comic." I was like, "What?" She's like, "Yeah, you're the guy that's always talking about doing Molly." And I was just like, I don't think so. She's like, and then her boyfriend, or the guy she was with, he's like, "Yeah, I did. We saw you at Helium, and you were talking about." I was like, I never rolled and done. I've never done Molly and then worked at the club. It's always like the little side other things. Something. He's like, "No, dude, but you talked about it." And then they named other places where I was for sure rolling and doing comedy. And then my buddy was like, "Damn, dude, you really want to be known as the Molly
comic?" Yeah. And I feel like
no, I don't want to be known as that. I just went through a weird phase. I had to test it out, and now we're back. I'm straight edge now. I don't do anything.
It could follow you, but I think now you're the straight edge. No, I don't know what you are. I have jokes. Well, I used to do jokes about my skin cancer because I have skin cancer, and I stopped doing them because someone afterwards was like, "You're the cancer girl." I was like, "No, I'm not. No." I'm not.
Like, yeah, no.
Well, and also it's not like, whatever. They're silly jokes about having to take, like, you have to take naked photos, and like for the, to check your body, whatever. And so I kind of graze over it because it's not that serious. I just have them removed now. I don't, it's nothing. Anyways, so you don't want to be like, "Oh, cancer," like that's a big word, and you're like, "No, there's other comics who have breast cancer and like actual," which I'm sure they don't want to be known as a cancer comic either, but still.
You're trying not to throw other comics under the bus. No, they have way worse cancer than me.
Look, they're gonna die soon. Okay.
Oh man,
Blake's disappointed in that one. Sorry. But if the whole audience is, I just like that idea. The first time I see people on drugs that I'm not on, I want to be on stage. But the whole audience was on Molly. I mean, would they be distracted as long as they don't get horned, like you said?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think it's a great idea. Actually, now I'm like,
I don't know if it's a good idea, but I would like to see what happens if we try.
Yeah, just come to the show, and if you like what you see, I'll get you on the next one, man.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Also, it's got to be BYOM because I'm not going to buy Molly for a whole crowd.
Yeah, that would be suspicious.
Take it if you got it.
Do you have a title for the show? You know how all the weed shows are like the dope show and the gateway show and whatever.
I don't know, probably Grinder. I don't know, because everybody's going to grind their teeth.
I do grind my teeth on drugs.
Yeah, I'll confuse that marketing would be confusing as hell. There'd be a whole audience of people showing up very disappointed because it's not the grinder that they thought it would be.
Right. You're like, it has an ER, so I don't know what you guys were expecting.
Pay attention. Yeah, we'll figure it out.
All right. Well, yeah, we're always welcome for your comments, any suggestions of what you would call the Molly comedy show. All right. Do you have any other ideas? Bad ideas.
Yeah, I have one that's kind of it's kind of like a joint idea. Me and my buddy Seth. Of
Assville fame.
Of Assville fame. You know how on IG your little algorithm you hit the magnifying glass and kind of shows you, it's like, yo, this is what you've been looking at, right?
Mm-hmm.
Most of my, all right, how do I say it? Most of my I hit the little magnifying glass. I think IG has me down pretty accurately. It's like sneaker stuff, sports, golf, and cute puppies.
Okay.
And every now and then I'll click on something where it's just like, I'm not supposed to look at this, right? And then the whole algorithm, like, it just all turns into like just big asses and like all this stuff. And I'm like, yo, I'm not even a dirtbag like that. Like, what's going on? And Seth, I'm not really putting this shit out there like that because he said it to multiple people. He has a burner account, much like Kevin Durant has a burner Twitter account.
Okay.
So he has a burner account. It's just for being a scumbag, just looking at stuff that he doesn't want the algorithm to muck up on his real, handle and all that stuff. So he's like, just do that. I was like, no, I don't want to do that because I don't want to go through the hassle of like having two accounts. And like, what if the algorithm is still listening, the matrix and all that shit? And like, I leave my phone down and wifey's like, oh yeah, let me check out some. And I forget to close the burner. She just seeing butts and golf shit and all that. I don't want to do that. So I was thinking like, yo, what if we had like, you can rent someone's like IG algorithm to do scumbag. Well, not do scumbag, but to look at stuff that you normally wouldn't look at. Right. Without fear of messing your own algorithm and getting yourself in trouble. Like there's scumbags all over the world, right? And they use their stuff for one purpose and one purpose only, to just be creepy and look at shit, right? What if it's like Uber for scumbags? What if you can just rent out
that guy's algorithm?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I mean, I kind of like that because at first I was like, okay, is it like a mask your algorithm? But if you could rent another one, he's already been looking at butts or whatever.
He, she, they, them, whatever.
Yeah, sorry, they
have a website, right? And it's like they got a profile, and it's just like, yo, this is the stuff that they look at, and you click. You're just like, okay, how much does it cost to rent your algorithm for a day to use your shit? $5. I got $5 to just creep on some stuff. Yeah. Sniff around,
and then
see what's going on.
No, interesting. Renting it. I mean, the algorithm does and will forever just confuse my brain. Because my TikTok one is like pretty accurate. And that one I think for some reason is a little quicker than other ones. But like my Instagram one is not quite on there, and I don't know because I do have other accounts that are linked for this podcast, Dumb Pitches, give it a follow, and my other podcast. And so on there I'll just like and follow willy-nilly just to get some attention to the podcast. But then on mine I don't do it as much, but it still gets weird. I don't know if those are connected like you were saying.
That's what I'm talking about, man. I don't need my casual viewing of certain things to mess with my look. This is my
professional viewing.
My professional viewing of things. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do know what you're saying, but well, and then
it's like the what's on the Google browser thing. It's like the incognito tab kind of thing.
Yeah,
let's get incognito out here on IG.
But I do like the idea that you could choose someone who's already been, because you don't want to start all the way over. Then you got to go click around for a while before it gets it up. If you're like, Tom's been over here creeping out.
What if it's like notable people too? You know, like you kick it up a notch. Like, I want to see what Drake's looking at on his shit.
That's actually not a bad idea. It's like Cameo for algorithms.
Yeah.
And then you could pay more. And apparently a lot of these celebrities are really struggling based on what's the OnlyFans and stuff.
Oh yeah, is that still a thing? I thought all that died down once we were all back into somewhat sense of normalcy.
Yeah, I don't. It doesn't seem like it's quite died down. At first, they were going to do no naked stuff, right? But then they decided
everybody
fired
back against that.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. I've never been on OnlyFans, but it does seem like a lot of people have them, or cameos. People, you're like big fan of actors or athletes or something, and they're like, which, whatever.
Yeah.
If it's been a while, or you're an athlete that's retired, I don't know what you're doing now, but I didn't think cameo was going to be it. However, if someone could just rent your algorithm, that'd be pretty great. You could just embrace your creepiness, or maybe it doesn't have to be creepy. However, I'm sure that's what it would be used for. But if what's the house lady, Marie Kondo, maybe you're like, oh, I want to rent hers because I'm looking for house stuff and I want to see what she's normally looking at. I don't know.
Right. I mean, and also though, like I get targeted ads all the time, and I think the algorithm has me figured out very, very well, because it's just like, hey, look at this cover that's shaped like a Jordan that can go on your putter.
Yeah.
And it's like, damn, how do they know? It's like sneakerhead golf stuff.
That's the thing. For a while, I felt like it did not have me down. It was a lot of stuff that I'd be like, I don't even know why this is showing up. Or, you buy something for whatever, your wife or your mom or something, and then you get ads for stuff that you wouldn't want. But then I buy one pair of shoes, and then everything is shoes, and then I click on them and I scroll through them, and I do look at them every time, and then it just makes it more and more and more, and it's shoes. It's mostly shoes on mine.
Yeah.
But
that's right. I don't want anything fucking with the shoes or the sports and all that stuff. So just let me just go ahead and rent some scumbags algorithm for an hour.
What celebrity would be your ideal algorithm rental?
Oof. Like I said, I think Drake in the past has been known to get caught up slipping in some DMs and stuff like that, and I would imagine he gets good responses from some of these people that he reaches out to.
I would assume,
different organizations. I would just like to see what my life would be like if for an hour I had Drake's algorithm on IG. I think that'd be delicious. I think that'd be interesting. And after an hour, I go back to just being regular, boring old Shain.
Well, that's it. But yeah, what is that? I mean, that one might be more expensive, because it's Drake. But otherwise, and I feel like he's got, because if you are sliding in DMs, you're looking at butts and stuff too. So he's probably got, knowing Drake, a lot of butts, but then also some inspirational quotes or something.
Oh yeah,
like he's got some soft stuff on there too.
Yeah, of course. And like he probably looks at like dope ass like architectural design stuff.
Oh yeah, that he could like actually buy.
Yeah, shit like that. Like I wouldn't even think of, because I'm just like, oh man, I follow like 4 different accounts on how to like grill steaks outside type shit. So it's like I'm never, which is real, Steak Nation all day.
They changed. Okay, it's just funny that you said that, because that's real.
Yeah.
Like my Facebook I've had for so long, so that algorithm is like, it's mostly comedy, some sports, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But the fan page part of it, the like page, now changed so you do have a feed of like other things. Oh, everything that is suggested on there is seafood, like cooking, and it's like straight up like big old like crawfish boiled and shrimp and legs and stuff. And it's funny because I laugh at it every time, but I'm like, reading the comments of what people are saying and like what kind of sauce is that and stuff.
Yeah,
like they're right, but
I'm in there now. It's like, as much as I brought this up, like I'm not really like scamming on IG and like looking at shit. My stuff now is just like, I'm like, oh, look at that meat. Look how he's cutting that marble. Oh shit. I'm like, and I'll get up and I'll like, my wife will be like watching TV and I'm on the couch and I'll get up and I'll walk over to her and be like, look at the way they package this sausage, babe. And she's like, what the fuck are you looking at? I was like, just meats. It's fucking meats and sneakers.
I mean, yeah. And maybe that's it. Maybe you want your personal / professional algorithm to look a certain way, not even just creepy stuff. It's like, what weird stuff are you looking at, or what, what are you a fan of that you're maybe a little embarrassed and you don't want people to look, then you could rent an algorithm for that as well.
You get it. Yeah. You get it.
You get it. I'm on board.
You get it.
You have a name for the company?
I'm terrible with the names, dude. I'm an ideas guy. I'll farm that shit out to someone else.
Perfect. Okay, so what I forget what else we were going to ask for comments for, but now we need titles, not titles, whatever.
Titles.
Company
Help me
names.
Out. I'll give you points in the back end when we get this off the ground.
Yeah, the algorithm. I'm just waiting for one of these to really take off. Somebody to steal one of these bad ideas and make it happen.
Yeah, you get some kind of credit, intellectual property. We had to bring these ideas to you. If it wasn't for you, this is the incubation process.
We got proof right here,
Content, baby. Let's go.
Yeah. Well, and now you're up. So we started for the recap episode for the end of the year. I did like awards. I'm calling them the dummies. And so it was like, clips for different categories and stuff. And so this is definitely a good one for the best business. Oh,
hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
It's a great honor to be even just nominated.
Yeah. Well, I should tell everybody that this episode. Okay. So then Monday, which is what, the 17th? Yes.
I believe so. Yes.
January 17th will be the last day to get your votes in for the dummies, and we will announce them the next Friday on episode 50. So if you haven't, which there's some ties, I mean, it's really, and maybe this is your first episode watching because you love Shain and you're like, well, I want to see what dumb shit Shain is up to. If you want a good, recap of what the rest of the series is like, episode 47, great. And then, got lots of clips of different people. You'll love it. It'll be great. Okay, that's my pitch. Anyways, I like it. The algorithm. Well, that was about the perfect amount of time.
Okay.
Where can people find you, follow you if they want to come and see you live or listen to Assville?
Yeah, check out Assville. It's wherever you get your podcast. Our premise is a loosely based rate and review podcast where we kind of rate and review any and everything pop culture related or, NBA, sports, all kinds of stuff. We talk about it and we have a scale of 1 to 4 ass cheek claps that we rate something with. And if we really love it, we give it a peach emoji. Nice. So, real highbrow type of stuff that me and another grown man friend of mine do on a weekly basis.
Yeah.
So that's Assville, the podcast, and then at Shain Brenden on all the platforms and all that stuff. And just, holler at your boy. Keep listening to Monica and the dumb pitches and support Stiletto Jordans.
Hell yeah. That was good. That was nice. Good wrap it up. Yeah, dude, support us too. Rate and review and subscribe, all that stuff. All the things. You can do it. But right now you can just keep watching dumb pitches.
You're weird.
Yes.